Hey everybody, Steven here, and today I'm reviewing the Sony Inzone H7 wireless headset. I'm using the microphone that this has for the entire video, not just a small sample. That's the same thing I do with all of my headset reviews. I use the actual mic so you can just hear this the entire time with no adjustments in post outside of making sure that the levels all kind of sound even across the board. With this is one of the most comfortable headsets that I've used, period. Previously, that was the Razer Barracuda X, and that one is just an extremely light headset. This one is heavier, but the cushions that they use, the ear cushions, just make this feel incredibly light. That's the huge upside, but this is an insanely expensive headset. So there's just this weird amount of pros and cons because I have to judge this based off of the very high price tag that this has. But I got mine on a huge discount. So I got mine for $120. Typically, I can see this range in price from $230 to $250. Right now, this is $228. I'm going to be judging it off the full retail price, but making that small caveat saying if you can find it at this discounted price, this is also my thoughts on this. With all that being said, though, let's go ahead and get into the specs first. There's some missing information here that I couldn't track down specifically about the microphone, but let's start with the weight here. This is 325 grams, which is 0.72 pounds. So this is almost 3/4 of a full pound here. It's not the heaviest wireless headset I've used, but it's also definitely not the lightest. It leans more towards the heavy side. But again, with the ear cushions on this, it is so comfortable. I don't really feel the weight, and that's always been a problem for me personally. And I talk about this with all these wireless headsets or just headsets in general. If it's clamping down too tight on my head, I personally get really bad headaches. And this one I can wear for a long time. That never happens. So it just points out to me how important the material on the ear cushions is, because this one has just changed the game for me in terms of, hey, I can wear a heavier headset and it not be a problem as long as the ear cushions are extremely good quality like this one. Now, moving on to the headphone itself, we have a closed headset here. In terms of the drivers, these are 40 millimeter neodymium. The frequency response is 5 hertz to 20,000 hertz with this. It does have spatial audio for gaming, but you're going to need to enable that through the Inzone app on PC. But you can actually use this with PC and with the PlayStation 5. On the wireless dongle, you have that option. On one side, it says PC, on the other, it'll say PlayStation. You have to have it clicked to the appropriate size based off what you're using this with. On PlayStation 5, you do get to use the 3D audio feature with this headset as well. So you do get spatial audio. It's just going to be the 3D audio on the PlayStation 5. And then the next part here is where we start to see some of this missing information, and I can't track down what I'm missing online for some reason, but battery life is max of 40 hours. That can change a little bit, but that's going to be your upper tier on that. So I would say probably like 35 to 40 hours is what I've experienced. It does, for me personally, last a long time. I can go almost 2 weeks before I need to recharge this, which is great. The charging time here is 3.5 hours for that full battery charge, but on a quick 10-minute charge, you can actually get 1 hour of battery life. This does have the wireless 2.4 gigahertz dongle that I mentioned earlier, but this is also Bluetooth compatible. So you have Bluetooth with this with a range of 10 meters, and the version here is 5.0. Just keep in mind with Bluetooth, depending on the device, if you're not using the software, you don't get all those same features that the software offers. And last, we have the microphone here. All it says is that it is a boom microphone. So no specs on the microphone that I can find, which seems pretty odd to me. You can move the microphone. Obviously, you can flip it up, but when it's in its down position, you can shift it over closer to your mouth. Pretty standard across all microphones on a headset at this point. But yeah, no actual specs here, which is, like I said, quite odd, especially considering the price here. Last bit is that this is Discord certified. I like that they have that certification, so we know it's going to be reliable in that regard. But let's go ahead and shift over now to just the physical features of the headset. So on the left side, you're going to have the microphone. You're also going to have the USB Type-C input, and it has the LED light indicator on this as well. So you do know if it's being charged, and then once it's fully charged, and then you have the volume scroll wheel. On the right-hand side, you have the power button, the Bluetooth button, and then the game/chat balance button. For the ear cushions here, you have a smooth nylon pad, and they don't say this, but these have most likely memory foam in them because as you squish them down, just the rebound as it comes back, it's not like normal kind of cushions like the high density foam stuff that you can find on other headsets. This one, again, it's just softer, and that's where we get that reduction in just how it feels on your head. It doesn't feel heavy because there is so much cushion. I like the feel of that nylon cover on the top of this because it's not like the pleather or some of the other fabrics that you may find on the ear cushions with other headsets. This is incredibly soft. And in terms of like heat and sweating, it just seems like a good balance between just that pleather, which usually gets really, really hot and your ears start to sweat, and the regular fabric that you may find on ear cushions that's more, I don't want to call it cotton, but it is more of a rough fabric. It's just not quite as smooth. This is just like right in between. And just the combo there just feels really good on the ear. And for the headband, that's going to have the pleather and just the higher density foam that you typically find on ear cushions. So that part is kind of standard. It feels good, feels solid, feels normal, feels like any other headband here. Doesn't put a tremendous amount of pressure on the head as long as you have the appropriate height adjustment for your head with this. And this does give a good amount of height with it. So for anybody that does kind of have like a bigger, taller head, this shouldn't be an issue. And it has a good amount of flex to it as well. The ear cups do rotate internally as well, so you can lay this down flat. I always like when headphones have that. I've reviewed some recently that haven't had that. I always miss it when the product doesn't have it. This one does, which allows the ear cups to kind of rotate and fit your head better. For those that don't have it, it feels very rigid. And if you don't have the head shape that is kind of ergonomic to that, it feels kind of uncomfortable, or you just get like air on the side or noise coming in from the side because it's not quite flush up against your head. This one having it, it just makes for a more comfortable feel to the whole headset, but also you're eliminating any outside noise. Even though this doesn't have active noise cancellation like the H9 has, it still reduces that outside noise quite a bit. Shifting over to the Inzone Hub software here, this is pretty bare considering the price tag. And when I look at other headsets that are a fraction of this price, I see more than this. So I was expecting more. Unfortunately, it is not there, especially when it comes to just different things that you could adjust with the microphone here and just customization of the sound profiles. But let's go ahead and start here on the left. So this is the headset itself. Down at the bottom, you have settings. You can register the product. Do you want this to launch when you start up the PC? Things like that. At the very top here, we have the battery life. No percentage indicator here, just bars so you know it's at 100%, 75, 50, 25. The microphone right here is illuminated because I'm using it. Bluetooth is off. I am not using that right now. So starting with the sound settings here, we have our sound profile. Default, I've not created any custom ones with this. And then down here, we just have 4 different equalizer settings that you have. Flat is what this is going to be to start, and that is flat. Then we have bass boost, which is what I typically use. Music/video. I've used this a little bit. It's pretty good, but just subtle increase in bass and then a drop in the treble. And then you have custom. This, if you were to adjust the custom here, you could rename it if you wanted to. Dynamic range control. This is essentially capping out how loud this will get. Currently, I have it off. This gets plenty loud when it is off, but if you find that the audio on your PC gets too loud in certain instances, you could turn this to low or high. Then we have the spatial audio, and this you will need to do the sound field personalization. And with that, it actually sent me over to an app. So this was interesting here because you use this to take photos of your ears, and then it creates that 360-degree spatial sound. More intricate than any other headset that I have used. And to me, the spatial audio has been really, really good. I like this particular feature. Does it trump 7.1 surround sound? I would say maybe by a small margin because you do have that customization where, hey, it's actually scanned my ear to figure some of that stuff out. I think if you put them side by side, you would tell a subtle difference. I don't know that it would blow you out of the water, but it's still, again, just as good, maybe slightly better than 7.1 surround sound. With that, I think that's just going to be a preference thing with this. Overall, I'm happy with the quality of this. I do wish that there was more customization when it came to some of this stuff, because once you do this scanning, it just personalizes it for you there. There's nothing in the app after that that I get to go in and like, let me adjust where the speaker is over here. You don't get to do that like you can with other software. So I think that's where I almost lean into 7.1 surround sound a little bit more with other headsets because of the customization, or at least the option for that. I don't feel personally like I want to customize this right now, but I also don't like the fact that I could never do that. If I am playing a game down the road and it just so happens like, man, I wish I could adjust that sound a little bit, move that speaker over a little bit so I can hear it a little bit better on the side, you can't do that. So, pros and cons with this, and I think that's going to boil down to your personal preference. After that, we have master volume, and then underneath that, you have the game slash chat balance. Shifting over to the microphone, just increasing the volume there. Auto gain control. So with this, adjust your chat volume to a proper setting, enabling the person on the receiving end to hear your voice clearly. We can start to test the microphone, and then you have a side tone if you want to listen to that. After that, we have device settings. Automatic power off, set the amount of time until it shuts off by itself. I do 5 minutes. Bluetooth, with this, when is it powered on? Mode when powered off last time. You can turn this on or off. Then we have the Bluetooth connection quality. I prioritize a stable connection over the sound quality there. And then this is just system software information. App sync, you can sync this to certain apps. As you go in there, it's going to give you this default. Let's add whatever app you may want to do with that, right? And so it's just, I believe, setting priority. When each app is in the foreground, it will automatically switch to the selected setting. So yeah, you're just giving it kind of certain settings for if I'm listening to YouTube over a game, over whatever the app may be, if you wanted to do that. Haven't really messed around with it much, to be honest. Just not something I need separate setting for YouTube versus when I'm playing a game. I just leave the spatial audio on. So this has been the software. Again, it just seems like it's missing a lot of different things. No active noise cancellation. I mentioned that earlier. You do have that, which with the H9, but that is even more expensive than this headset. We don't have any adjustments for the microphone. So I wish you could adjust that a little bit more. If we could clean up the audio, do noise cancellation for the microphone. Some apps with other products have that ability, things like that. Again, it just kind of seems bare, and I think everybody's going to have their own thing that they're looking for. So if this doesn't really suit your needs, I would want to be mindful of that. So now that I've covered the specs, the software, let's go ahead and shift now over to what I like about this headset. So to start here, main thing that matters with a headset is going to be the sound quality, and this really has good sound quality. I was just talking about the spatial audio. I really like the spatial audio. Yes, you have to take a second, you have to download this app, you have to do all, you can't just turn that on, which is kind of a bummer. But once you do scan your ears and you get everything set up, it does provide really good audio. And so if you are playing first person shooters and you want to be able to hear the person behind you coming up behind you and all that, like these things do matter with certain games. But regardless, if you're not playing games like that, the audio here, it sounds really good. Yes, I wish there were more customizations inside of the app for the different sound profiles, the equalizer that you could do, but you could come up with your own as well. And for me personally, bass boost just sounds really good. So they nailed the sound quality here, but with that too, the performance side, how is the connection? I almost was going to give this a bad marks as I was doing this, and I've been using this now for 2 months. The first initial couple weeks I was having an issue where it would like the audio was cracking up and I was like, man, this thing's starting to like get on my nerves. What's going on? And I finally realized that one of the USB ports on my front panel of my PC case is actually going out. That's what was causing the issue. Since then, I haven't had any connection issues with the 2.4 gigahertz dongle. Performance on that side has been really good. I do like the fact that this has the Bluetooth as well. So, for those out there, if you have a handheld, if you're using a Steam Deck, you can connect this to that. If you have some of the other ones, some of these other handhelds actually just have a full USB port. You could always just use the USB dongle if you wanted to. But if you didn't want to go that route, I like that you have the option to use Bluetooth here. You could, of course, use it with your phone as well. I don't really game on my phone much. I wouldn't do calls or anything like that with this device either. So, outside of maybe a couple people that may use that feature, yeah, of course, you could use this with your phone, which is nice. But I think really for like handhelds and things like that, this is going to be better. And of course, this sounds great on PlayStation 5 and being able to use the 3D audio there, you just get that. To me, it's the same thing as spatial audio, it's surround sound. Everything sounds great gaming with this headset on the PlayStation 5. So across the board, performance is great, connection is great as well. With the PlayStation 5, I use the USB dongle, and on that you have the PC and then you have PlayStation 5. You just kind of move this little switch over. Now, if you have it on PlayStation 5 and you plug it into your PC, the thing that's going to happen is it's just not going to connect to the app. You can technically still use it. You just don't have the option to utilize the software. You have to then shift that back over to PC so that it can link up to the software. So be mindful of that. Next, this thing feels great. I talked about it early on. This has taken the top spot for me personally in terms of my ranking now when it comes to comfort because these ear cushions are just so comfortable. This is being a slightly heavier wireless headset. It should feel like it weighs a ton, and it doesn't. I can wear these for 1 and 2 hour play sessions, no problem. The comfort here is just really, really good. I wish other companies would take note of what they've done with the ear cushions here. They're just the best I've used, period. So the softness, the comfort, utilizing the memory foam, it just takes this and just makes it feel great for these longer play sessions without getting insanely hot like something if it had like the pleather on it. That's not to say it doesn't get hot. It will get hot depending on the temperature of the room and how long you're playing. If you're playing something where you're just your blood's going because it's a great moment in a game and you're starting to get sweaty just because of that, yeah, it's going to get hot. But overall, I've used some other ones where I'm just like casually gaming and my ears start sweating. That is not the case here. So we have solid sound quality, solid performance with the connection, and this feels really, really good. Followed up by, I like the aesthetics of this. This is one of the things that attracted me towards these headsets, the H7, the H9, initially was just they look really cool. I like the more rounded look. I like just the white with this, with the little splash of black. It kind of sucks that that's the only option you have, meaning they don't make like an all black version of this. You get RGB lighting with the H9, you don't get any lighting here. Again, looking at the price tag here, that's kind of a bummer, but you never see the RGB lighting on a headset when you're utilizing it anyways. So aesthetically, I just think this is a really cool looking headset. So that is everything that I really like about this headset. And shifting over now to the things that I don't like, I'm going to start with the price first because as good as all of that is, that's the thing that's going to be at the forefront of everybody's mind. Is all of that worth the $200+ that they're asking typically for this headset? Personally, I don't think I would pay that higher price tag. On sale, obviously, I bought this. If you can find this under like $130, this is a top notch headset. Anything above 200, it's so competitive for that space. You're really going to need to line out what's your ultimate thing that you want, like top three. And with that, because some people may want a really solid microphone, right? Maybe they're creating content with their headset or something. Like this mic, it's not that great, especially considering this higher price tag. And so if that's like, hey, that's the thing I really, really need, you may need to look elsewhere. So I think at the normal price, they've just kind of priced themselves out of the market. At a discount, I mean, I would definitely go with this over a lot of other headsets if you can get it again under $130. So sales price spot on, regular price is overpriced. And with that, because of that higher price, looking back at the software, I would expect more at the higher price tag, and we're just not finding it. It's adequate, but I would like to see more if you're paying that high premium price tag that this has. Last here is going to be the microphone. Again, going back to price, with a higher price tag that this normally has, I would expect a better microphone. It's again, it like goes back to like it's okay, but it should be amazing, and it's not amazing because personally, with higher priced headsets and the microphone that they have, I expect that I could make content for a YouTube channel consistently and not really worry about the audio quality of that. Here, again, it's just like the microphone, it sounds okay. So, looking at the bad stuff, top down, price, software, microphone, but that ranking changes because if you take out the price side for it, then really it's the software is lacking. I don't mind the microphone as much. Now, in terms of the gray area, which I usually include in all my reviews, which are things you may or may not care about, I actually don't have any for this headset because this just seems pretty clean cut and dry with the good and the bad here. So that's going to wrap this video up. If you have any questions about this headset, let me know in the comment section. I will make sure to answer that for you there. Personally, I recommend waiting to find this on sale. If you can, go for it. If not, there are plenty of other options out there, or just hang out and wait for it to go on sale. I will have a link for this in the description if you do want to pick it up. If you guys liked the video, hit the like button for me as it helps the channel out. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.